Today, I have Dr. Amit Nagpal with me again, and we will be discussing all about the independent directors. So, what do you think is the role of independent directors data bank in India, and how does this work?
Yes, so the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has this institute called Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which works IICA, which works under MCA or the ministry. And they have this data bank of people who are qualified as independent directors. And from this data bank, any corporate, startup, MSC, SME, many people are not aware that a startup which is going for a listing on stock exchanges or a IPO also needs to appoint independent director before going for an IPO. Same way, companies which have more than 100 crore plus turnover also need an independent director as per the law. And, this is how, these recruiters or companies which need an independent director can go through the data bank and, invite people for an interaction.
Now we talked about how to be an independent director. So let's talk about the process of it. So what do you think, and how does the role of proficiency assessment or assessment for the independent director does play a role, and how does it work in India?
Yeah, so there is a simple online self-assessment or proficiency test. So you book a slot on the IICA through IICA website. You get a time, and at that time you give that the test. And if you clear the test, then automatically you get certified as a independent director. So this is the proficiency test or self-assessment test, which is done online.
So we understood how to become an independent director. Now, please tell us that what are the major and key responsibilities of an independent director in all of the Indian companies or an Indian corporate scenario?
See, basically, there are two kind of directors, executive and non-executive. Now, independent directors are non-executive directors because they are not working full time. Now, non-executive directors are again of two types, independent directors and nominee directors. So, nominee directors are appointed by the investors or, usually banks or. Now, these independent directors, in some ways have a similar role as executive directors. For example, let's say you are a part of the audit committee. So the committee does different kind of accounting or management audits. So both executive directors and independent directors are part of the audit committee. So some activities are similar to the executive directors. Some activities, maybe a little bit different. For example, the independent director is supposed to be the representative of the minority shareholders. Now, this is not expected of an executive director. Same way, an independent director is supposed to bring, objectivity to the boardroom because he is not involved in day-to-day politics of the organization. And that sense, he brings more unbiased, objective views to the board. So this is another role. Similarly, it is also, practically believed that the independent director has to be a kind of a constructive critic. He has to be, a sort of devil's advocate in that sense, bring different perspectives to board meetings. So that is what is expected of an independent director, which is different from the executive director. In fact, as per the latest guidelines, even when an independent director is resigning, he or she has to submit a detailed resignation why the person is resigning, maybe mentioning the corporate governance issues. If there are some problems in transparency or some issues in the corporate governance, they have to be mentioned in your resignation letter.